Mallards, it is Friday and it is finally time for me to post a video about what I've been doing the past 4 nights. Montverde Academy, who you know is near and dear to my heart, have been doing a Festival of the Arts, basically an online version of the things that they would have been doing right now. It's been very impressive and really cool, and there were 3 one-acts, and then tonight was a musical cabaret performance. So the first one act was called Actually, the second was Agamemnon, the third one was called Declaration, and then tonight's was a musical performance called Love and War. And I'll let the other nights explain themselves, and I will see you back here in this outfit in this spot to talk about the fourth one. So we just watched the first of the Montverde one acts. This one is called Actually, and it is a show that deals with a date rape situation on a college campus, on Princeton's campus, actually.
Specifically.
Actually, I'm gonna just say actually a lot. It's the title of the show. It's just gonna work its way into conversation. This particular show was directed by Katie Fallon, who, if you watch my Montverde vlogs, you know that I adore Katie. And she did a very good job with this. Directing for 2 people to perform in a Zoom call is very different. That's something that I've never done before. I'd be curious to know like what her process was like and what sort of things you do, because it is a very different medium and you don't see, I mean, now currently you do, but before there wasn't a lot of like, let's direct this show for Zoom.
It's a new experience.
It is a new experience, but it had to be interesting and fun. She and her assistant director clearly did a lot of work on this. It looked very, very good. The point of these one acts is that they are directed, produced, staged, managed, and acted in by the students. So they're managing basically everything aside from, I think, working with Miss Emerson to get the scripts. I think they choose their own scripts, but like they have to get approval. And asking her questions, obviously, if they need help. But I enjoyed this show. It starred Daniel and Kaylin. They were phenomenal. Great performances, very heartfelt. What do you think,
Really
Mel?
intense.
Yeah.
And it was like, I liked that they weren't black and white. They were like, this was very gray, and neither one of them was like super sure. And like, the longer into the trial that they went, the more they were like, am I sure that I'm doing the right thing? Was I wrong? Was I right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it felt very real. It's a very well done script, and the actors, I think, carried that material very well. There are a lot of people who don't necessarily think that high schoolers should be handling quote-unquote adult material. I disagree with all of those people. I thought that the script was very well handled. I thought the presentation was really good. Watching it on Zoom is interesting and fun. As mentioned before, it allows the unique opportunity for you guys to see a show that I've seen. So you can visit Montverde's Facebook page, which I will link down there, and you ought to be able to watch these later. It was very, very moving. Today's was Agamemnon. Wow, talk about just going hard. For those of you unfamiliar, Agamemnon is a classic Greek tragedy play about the end of the Trojan War and Agamemnon's wife basically murdering him and Cassandra the prophet in revenge for the fact that he killed their daughter in order to hopefully win a battle. The Greeks were weird, guys. One of the other things about Greek plays is that most traditional Greek plays feature a Greek chorus, which is a group of people who all speak together. In the case of Agamemnon, it's the like old men of the village, the ones who like didn't go off to war, and they're commenting on different things and interacting with the characters. But it's a group that all speaks in unison, and that's a challenge at the best of times, and it is an incredible challenge when you're doing the entire show over Zoom. I was very impressed with how well the Greek chorus was together. They weren't perfect, but you're never going to be perfect because there's a delay over the internet, but they did a very good job. I would invite people who aren't familiar with Agamemnon or that story to watch it and let me know what you think. They also use some really cool backgrounds. That was this like smoke aesthetic. And I know that they worked on these shows before Corona happened and all of that. So I think that probably that smoke was part of the aesthetic that they were going to create when they staged it. But it's exciting that they still get to do this. I liked this one a lot. They have very talented performers. Aiden was a good director and made some strong choices there. I love a good Greek play. I feel like they don't get done as often, especially outside of competition. I can see a lot of Greek tragedies in competition, but I rarely get to just see them performed for fun, and I like a Greek play. So good job. There's another one act tomorrow, so I'll be back with you then. I just watched the next Montverde show. This one act is called Declaration, and it deals with gun violence. A unique thing about this particular show is that they used their own names and the names of the school. I don't know anything about this script, so I'm not sure if that is part of the script or a decision that the director made, and she didn't address it in her little talk at the end. But I would be curious to know. So if somebody watching this does know, is the point of Declaration to put in your own names and the name of your school, or is that a decision that you guys made? Either way, I thought it was incredibly effective, and it makes it seem real in a very different way. It is a very visceral show anyway, as most things involving gun violence are. And it made me angry, which is definitely the point, because I find myself very easily frustrated by that sort of thing. Gun control is one of the things that I am very passionate about and very frustrated with, and I think that our reactions to it have never been good. And I thought that this play did a good job of addressing like different feelings. I thought it was well executed. It's a heavy topic. All of these have been very heavy. Even Agamemnon is not exactly a light show, and they've handled them with grace and gravitas, and it proves what I already knew, which is that actors can handle anything you can throw at them, and that it's incredibly important to take things that you care about and use art to talk about them. Tonight was the first time they had technical difficulties doing this, and I've been very impressed by that, because this new world we live in is just rife with technical difficulties. Tonight they couldn't get Facebook to work for whatever reason, and so instead posted a link to the video on YouTube, which was still wonderful. This performance in particular is a little bit different. So the other ones, I get the feeling, have been more live. This was clearly pre-recorded, as it needed to be. It's a musical show, and so there's a lot more moving elements to this. Everyone was fantastic. The performances were really great. One cool thing about seeing this on video is that I can really see people's emotions and how they're reacting to the pieces, because I'm this far from, well, I mean, most of them were full body shots, but like I'm much closer to them than I am when I'm sitting in the theater. So you really, really get the emotions. They also did 2 group numbers. Well, 3 technically, because there was also a duet, but 2 big group numbers, one from Rent and one from Come From Away. And literally how? I assume that the piano track was sent to everyone, and then they each individually recorded themselves singing along to the piano track, and they're very talented and were in time to the track, so they could just be edited together. It was a Brady Bunch style, 9 photos of the performers, but still, in the time of Corona, just watched a performance that was done at a social distance where people sang together. Didn't know it could happen. Incredible performances from everyone. I am thrilled that this is the junior class, because it means that those are all of the wonderful people who I will get to see live on stage next year when all of this calms down and we're back in the theater, and they all deserve everything that's coming their way. They've pulled through this very, very well. They put on some fantastic performances. They've adapted well to the times, and I can't wait to see what they come up with next. As for you guys, I'll see you tomorrow.